where all these foods are bad and only the banana is supreme because it's on the meal plan is very dangerous. Meal plans aren't the best thing and are something that you should probably be avoiding. Actually, before that, I have to say, you guys just got clickbaited. Thank you for the view, yeah. Meal plans are actually pretty good. I mean, think about it. Whenever someone follows a meal plan or all those meal plans out on the internet, on YouTube, build muscle to lose fat, people follow them and end up getting results. So to be honest, meal plans are actually pretty good at achieving the result. But before we continue forward, I want to say the reason why meal plans do achieve results are because they follow certain principles. And the main reason of this video is to teach you those principles, and if you understand those principles, you will understand the basis behind creating meal plans, and therefore you won't ever have to use a meal plan yourself, because they also have a lot of cons. Now, when you first started working out, or anyone, whether that be a teenager, a beginner, when you first come into the gym and we're serious about training, so we're first session in the gym and we've decided to change our eating habits and dive a bit deeper into nutrition and actually make a change which will complement our training. So if we train hard, we've also been told that eating well will complement that, and that your nutrition will fuel your workouts and you'll be able to see quicker gains. So the first thing we do is go on YouTube and go to the first video, which is usually a bodybuilder who's ripped, who's shirtless, and they've got their own meal plan that they say that if you follow every single day for the rest of your life, you'll gain muscle. And because we're so new to the game and we have no nutritional education, we simply follow the bodybuilder in the hopes that we will gain as much muscle as he has. Or worse, we get hyped about if it fits your macros that everyone in the fitness industry preaches about, because now we can eat donuts while still making gains. And if you want to find out why if it fits your macros is detrimental to your health, and if you want to save yourself, click on the video above. Coming back to us, so we've just started to work out. We're following the bodybuilder's diet plan, or if it fits your macros, or whatever we see on Reddit, but we never end up receiving the proper nutritional education that we all needed, which is the purpose of this video, to give you that education so you can create your own eating habits which aren't based off other people's routines. Now, a lot of these main tenets or the main principles I've already covered in my video about the 5 commandments that everyone should religiously follow, and those are adherence, calories, and macros. Adherence is the foundation, because if you think about it, whatever meal plan, diet, or whatever you want to follow, if you don't follow it consistently and like once a week or multiple times a week, you have cheat meals, you binge every second day, in the end, your body will look like a bag of milk and you'll never see the results you want, because you're following the meal plan for one day, you're eating well for one day, but the rest of the week or every other day, you're ruining the efforts that you just put in. In the past, if you've been able to stick with the meal plan, it is because you've been able to adhere to it, or there are certain factors about the meal plan which makes it adherable to you. Take for example the most common breakfast that all bodybuilders preach, which are oats and eggs. The thing with oats and eggs are they're beginner friendly, anyone can make them. It's literally little margin for error. You can make it taste very good and it takes very little to make. So in the morning when you're in a rush, or you can even meal prep way ahead by like blending the oat or putting in a Tupperware container, or I don't know, doing something in advance. So that way, even when you're in a rush in the mornings, you can still have that meal. It takes very little to make. You can add a scoop of protein into your oats to make it taste even better, or season your eggs. It's high protein and it's also very beginner friendly. There's no steep learning curve to make it. And because of all those factors, making that breakfast is very easy. And most likely, if you do follow a meal plan with oats and eggs for brekkie, you've been having it for a very long time. Calories is the second principle. And everyone knows daily, throughout the whole day, just to regulate your body for your daily physical activity and everything else in between, your body burns calories. And if you eat the amount of calories that your body burns daily, what your intake is, it matches your outtake. And because of that, you're at maintenance, or your weight is stable. If you eat less than what you burn, you lose weight, or you're in a cutting or fat loss or shredding, whatever you want to call it. And on the other hand, if you're eating more than what you burn, then you're bulking, or you're in a mass deficit, or you're going to gain weight. Finally, macros is how you split your calories. whether that's coming all from your protein, like the carnivore diet, rip your toilet, or carbs and fats. And usually it's a mix of all three, because if you have too little of any or too much of one, you start getting into problems. Now, you don't need to be tracking your macros, or if you do, that's different. But just having a rough understanding of when you pick up a food, for example, almonds, it's higher in fats compared to the protein and carbs, and what type of fats there are. Just to have some general knowledge about all different types of foods and what type of role they play, not only in the macronutrients, but also what other nutrients they do give you. And finally, you have small principles like micronutrients, which are your minerals and vitamins, fiber, water, staying hydrated, your supplementation, whatever you do, all those are tiny extra things which also add up. But coming full circle, that meal plan that you've been following, the bodybuilder has told you, or on Reddit, which has helped you gain muscle, according to the principles that you need to be following, where the meal plan is based on, well, the first thing was it's adherable. Because the meal plan is very easy to stick to, you've been able to stick with it for a long time, and that's why you've been seeing gains. The second thing is calories. And we know that if you want to gain weight and if you want to put on muscle, you got to eat more than what you expend. So that the meal plan put you in a calorie surplus. It also gave you enough protein, carbs, and fats. So protein to actually build, repair muscle, carbs to fuel your workout and replenish your glycogen, and fats to keep your hormones in check. A variety of foods, you are able to hit your vitamins and minerals so you weren't deficient in any of that. Eating enough fiber, being hydrated, getting your omegas in, and everything else. Now you may be thinking, after all of this, after seeing this much gains, how could meal plans still be bad? Well, the first thing is, now that you understand the principles where meal plans are based on, you don't really need to follow any. Instead, building good eating habits based on these principles alone, that being adherence, then calories, macros, micronutrients, fiber, and being hydrated. If you follow all those, you never will have to follow a meal plan again. And because you have developed the eating habits yourself, it's much more individualized to you, making it easier and more fun to follow. Moreover, it takes away all the cons of actually following a meal plan, which I'm about to discuss. The first main problem is rigidity. So you're very restricted in the foods you're eating because you're eating the same foods every single day. And now that may make your life easier. Shopping becomes easier, cooking becomes easier, life becomes easier. So you can buy the same ingredients every week and it's much easier on you. But the first problem that arises with rigidity is what happens if you are in a situation where those foods aren't really available. Now you're probably going to say, I'm not trekking in the Sahara, I'm not somewhere in the wilderness where I'm always going to be around grocery stores, always have my food plan, I'm always going to have my Tupperware box wherever I go. That next 3 p.m. meal is ticked. I'm going to have it every day. I'm going to put all my efforts into making that meal and making sure that I do get to have it and eat it. And no doubt, you might put in the extra effort to make sure you do have that meal every single day. But because you're not having a diverse amount of food, first problem that could happen is you're missing out on a lot more foods for a long period of time. And that might cause vitamin and mineral deficiencies. Not only that, but your gut microbiome, which digests all the food, the bacteria in there, which actually do the digesting, because they aren't exposed or they don't receive different foods and only a select food every single day, the diversity of your bacteria is going to be poor. And because of that you're going to have imbalances. So if you don't eat a diverse amount of food, then your gut won't require a diverse amount of bacteria because it's not processing a diverse amount of food, and that's a problem. The second problem is it doesn't teach you about nutrition. Today's video was a slight insight into the main principles when it comes to nutrition. And when you first started out in the gym, most likely the bodybuilders that you watch, they go straight to the meal plan without giving you the actual knowledge. And this becomes a very big problem because what happens in the meal plan at 3 p.m, you need to have a banana. And that day there isn't a banana, there's only an apple at 3 p.m. And if you do have the apple, would it be considered cheating? Well, according to you, it might be because, at 3 p.m. I had to have the banana. But if you're not sure why you include a banana in your diet, then you won't know the importance of the banana. If the banana was used to curb your afternoon sweet tooth cravings, So if you weren't going to have a sweet fruit in the afternoon, later on throughout the day, you would find yourself craving more sweet food. So in order to avoid that situation, you had a banana, which also came with the extra benefits of the vitamins and minerals. And so in that case, an apple would simply be an alternative to a banana. It wouldn't be cheating because an apple also achieves the same thing. But you wouldn't have known that because you simply followed a meal plan without having the knowledge or realizing the importance of a banana in your meal plan. But on the other hand, if you included a banana because you're low on potassium that day, and since banana is so high in potassium and apples aren't as much, then maybe in that case you would have to have an apple and some other form of potassium as well. So knowing the importance of why you include each food in your diet is very critical. Blindly follow a meal plan without knowing why foods are in place, then you think anything outside that meal plan is cheating. Which leads me on to the third problem, the black and white mindset. People either think they're on the meal plan or they cheated that day. All foods on the meal plan are healthy and everything else isn't. So in the last case, the banana was healthy, but just because the apple wasn't on the meal plan, because the bodybuilder didn't include it, now apples are considered bad. And anything else like Pop-Tarts are also considered bad. And it doesn't make sense because fundamentally an apple is much healthier than a Pop-Tart. Now because an apple and Sour Patch gummies are both not on the meal plan, they're both equally unhealthy. And having this type of mindset where all these foods are bad and only the banana is supreme because it's on the meal plan is very dangerous. Instead, understanding the reason behind each food, as I said in the previous point, and having a more holistic perspective is important. This way, knowing the purpose of each meal, for example, the 3 p.m. fruit time, so you can select a fruit of your choice, and whichever fruit it is, it doesn't really matter. As long as you eat it and you feel satisfied, then you can move on. And in this way, you aren't limited to specific foods. Every other food is on your X list, and every time you have a single bite of those foods that aren't on your diet, you end up turning that day into a whole cheat day and just gobbling down 10,000 calories. You can prevent that by making smarter decisions. May the gains be with you, and see you in the next one.